Hopefully everything is working. Hey, Liani. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god. Okay. Let me read everything to you guys in just a quick second. Oh, I just realized my camera's not on. Hold on. Is this working? It's working. Alright. Good morning. You can tell by my voice, I just woke up like maybe a few minutes ago. For some reason, my alarm didn't wake me up at 4:30, so I woke up at like 4:50, and I'm like, what? Just had to register that. Also, I see Suliani is here. So I said, oh, you're right, good to see you, Liani. Suliani said, how are you, teacher? Oh, I'm reading her chat, that's why. So, and she said, I said to her, good to see you, Liani. And she's like, how are you, teacher? And I wrote, I'm doing well, how about yourself? And she said, I am great, you know what, teacher? I just gave birth. Oh my god. Congratulations. You got your first baby. Like, is this your first baby? Is this your first child, Liani? Congratulations to you. I just wrote congratulations in the chat. Also, I did like a little bit of just checking the audio too while I'm waiting for Liani to respond back. Okie dokie. So Liani, take your time. Just wanted to get that through, and also I had a little bit of a audio difficulty or technical difficulties at fix earlier, so I realized I didn't set up the audio correctly this last night. Suliani said second. Wow, your second child. Congratulations. Janu Uban joined. Hello, welcome Janu. Good to see you. I'm wearing something really warm in the morning because, you know, I just rolled out of bed, so I'm like, okay. If you guys are wondering, it's one of these like really fancy like robes. This one comes with like, I think this is faux fur, so it's not real. So yeah. But anyways, I have a bad habit of just talking right now when I forget to turn on the screen here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and welcome everyone to session 27 today. Stream itinerary. So we have our greetings, conversation, practice, question, comments, concern, and suggestions. This was something we were supposed to complete last week, but I overslept one of the days because I was so tired. Yeah, I just had a lot of paperwork to do. My goodness, just a lot of stuff to do. Also, we're finally here at the greetings, so this is consider this like greetings part 2. So, how is everyone? I see that Liani just gave birth to her second child. Congratulations again. So happy for you. Excited for you too. When did you give birth? I know you mentioned that you just gave birth, so I was wondering if it happened like just now or was it earlier this week? I'm still waking up, so I apologize, guys. Yesterday I've been grading a lot of papers, so that took a lot of my energy. I'm just so tired from grading papers. All day yesterday. So the music stopped. Let me fix this. Just making sure everything is functioning fine. Thanks, teacher. Oh, January 8th. Oh, nice. Congratulations again. I see. So she gave birth 2 weeks ago. 1, 2, yeah. Actually 3 weeks ago, my bad, counting backwards. 3 Mondays ago. That's amazing. You were still sleepy. I know. I should have woken up at 4:30, but for some reason, I think I just slept through all of my alarm clocks and I'm like, why am I sleeping through them? I should be okay. But it's okay. It's Monday. We'll get through it. Yeah, this weekend has been just busy, from birthday celebrations to let's see, a birthday celebration. So I'm just gonna talk about that briefly. It was my nephew's birthday, and I think he considers me his gaming buddy now. Ever since I introduced him to like minions, and it's like the minion like dodging game. It's like a running game. And I've also introduced him to like a car puzzle game. So ever since I introduced that game to my nephew, I have become his gaming buddy. So he would always look for me at parties. He'd be like, "Oh, where's Auntie? Where's Auntie Hannah? Where is she?" And he would always be like, "Oh, I wanna play games with Auntie," something like that. And yeah, so I think it's just so endearing that I've practically become this this child's gaming buddy. So he would always look for me at parties, and he'd always be like, "Hey, I want to show you a new game," or "Hey, I unlocked a new character." It's like that's always the first thing he says when he sees me. And I'm like, that's so cute. I'm his first gaming buddy, and he perceives me as that. So I think it's so adorable. Of course his dad is number one, but I guess I'm considered his close second, maybe, or first, I don't know. Anyways, such a cute kid. I probably might share a picture after this. Well, not now, but if I'm editing the video, you might see the picture of my nephew. Who knows? I have to ask his dad's permission, of course, if I can share the video or share the picture I have of him and the game that we played together. All right. Then all day yesterday, oh my god. I don't know. I feel like the weekends are way too short, you guys. Like, I only have how many hours to myself on Saturday? I was trying to rest the morning of, and then we went out to the party around 4 p.m. and I'm just like, I don't have enough rest. And then by Sunday, it's like I made a list of things to do. Oh, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I do have a pin board in front of me now, so it's here right next to me. So now I can see things that I have to do. Like, for example, I have a tracking list of like things to do here. I only scratched off 2 things that I did yesterday because I was just so tired. I went shopping yesterday for just lunch and dinner. So yeah, that's about it. So I have all of this stuff to do this week. So fingers crossed I get a lot of things done. I might be able to stay for the 60 minutes for today's stream because I have to do a lot of things again after. So fingers crossed I know what to do after today's stream. I'm also checking my other study notes that I have listed on here last night, just so I could remind myself in the morning, because you guys know I can be quite forgetful at times. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and move on to today's stream, which is conversation practice. Okay, so we're continuing our lesson from last week, where we talked about phrasal verbs, and we are addressing the following for our everyday routine. We have grow up, wake up, come up, and turn up. Okay. Sorry, I have to yawn for a second. I hate it. I hate that I need to yawn. Anyways, we have grow up, wake up, come up, and turn up. Alright, grow up is at least faithful to its actual word, which is becoming older, right? So grow up to become older. Just for reference, I got all of my text and explanation from the English for Grammar, which is what we covered last week on our grammar lessons. And if I remember correctly, I will also provide a second meaning to grow up as well. It can also mean like maturity as well. So grow up in terms of the book was just to become older. Like, oh, the kids, if we're not around them, they'll grow up overnight or something. So they'll become older overnight. Or you can use it as an expression to compliment someone's maturity. So you could say like, wow, you've grown up a lot. So that expression is used when you're complimenting someone, let's say, who's quite young and they have a lot of knowledge or wisdom. So it's like a compliment on their maturity and their intellect, if you will. So I do have some kids who are just very knowledgeable, and I tend to tell them, oh wow, you sound like a grown-up, or well, you sound like you've grown up overnight. So it just means that they're very mature. Okay. Oh my goodness, did I not put any questions for it? Hold on one second. Did we not? Oh no, I did not write the questions for them. Okay. That's fine. I thought I had this done. I am so sorry, everyone. I was like, oh, everything's ready. I'll be okay next morning. Yeah. Let me just, like, since it's just blank, it's a perfect opportunity to just show you guys, like, oh, let's just type the question here while we're on the spot. So I would say, have you ever received compliments of, like, being called, like, grown up, or have you said that expression to someone? So my question here would be, did you... were you ever told, that's the word I want to say, were you ever told that you grew up? Seem more mature, wiser. Sorry, I can't type for some reason. When you were younger? If yes, when? Okay, that's the first question, so it's there for you guys. It's were you ever told that you grew up, seem more mature, wiser when you were younger? If yes, then share a story with us. I will leave that there for you guys to answer, while I'll jump ahead and then just like share. Hold on a second. Let me copy paste this also in the chat so you guys don't forget it. Again, I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I had this done. I was like, oh, I think the 28th presentation wasn't done. And there you go, it's in the chat on Instagram. And... I'll just let you guys answer that first. Oh yeah, there you go. So I can wait for you guys while I go ahead and type the questions very quickly. It happens, guys, it happens. I was like, for sure, I was confident. I was like, oh my god, I had all the questions ready for the next day, and I had up to the 28th presentation, and I was like, I'm ready, I got it here. I was so ready, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even post it. I apologize again. I'm just waiting for people to write in the chat. Okie dokie. Sorry guys, just typing up the questions while you guys are in the chat and I'm waiting for responses. I think Liani just left, so maybe she's tending for her baby. And Han said, I grew up when I started learning to read and I picked up a newspaper and read an article to my grandparents. Oh, nice, nice. So that's actually really cute. So basically you picked up a newspaper, you read it to your grandparents, and then they complimented you and said, wow, you seem to have grown up overnight. That's also cute. Like, I mean, back then newspapers were so popular to use back then, and it's just so funny to bring that up and say just like newspapers are what it just feels like it's just like it feels archaic. Sorry, I'm trying to find the right words. It just feels kind of archaic to say that we look at newspapers, even though they're still used today. But I feel like it's not as popular compared to social media because everything is online now, so you can just find it on your phone or on the laptop or computer. So it's just so funny to see, like, back in the day people would read from their newspapers, but nowadays people look from their phone. So I rarely ever see people looking at newspapers nowadays, you know? So everything's on like an online newspaper, if you will. So it's just crazy to mention just like newspapers back in the day. It's adorable. But thank you for sharing, Hans. Alright. I'm gonna write 2 more questions and we're good. We can move on to the next one. Good, Jason. Okay, dokie. Alright, I think that should be good for now. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again and jump back to the page. Okay, we're still at Grow Up. That's what I remember. But yeah. Sorry about this again, you guys. Here we go. Alrighty. So I tried to write like at least 2 questions per slide because I want to bring back our practice and stuff. Han said, yeah, it's another generation. It is. Hello, Visioned and Inacio. Thank you for joining. So yeah, we have grow up, become older. Were you ever told that you grew up seem more mature or wiser when you were younger? If yes, then share a story. Hans already mentioned about a newspaper where he picked it up and read it to his grandparents, and to his grandparents they probably complimented him and said that, oh wow, you grew up. Or it could possibly be that he felt like he grew up at that moment when he picked up a newspaper and read it to them. Also, yeah, just reviewing what we went over because we had to type the questions very quickly for you guys, and sorry about that. I really thought I had everything set up, but it's okay. If you're watching this as a live, it probably took me like, what, 5 minutes to type all the questions. So yeah, just speed through that and then we're here. Next question. have you told a child that they seem to have grown up overnight? What did they say that resulted with you saying this expression? All right. So while I'm waiting for you guys to share your answers in the chat, and if you don't, it's okay. And of course, I understand if you guys are busy as well. I'll also answer the first question, which I forgot to answer. I feel like I've been told that I grew up when I started talking about like relationships. Because every time I gave advice for relationships, or when I talk about my perception of life nowadays, or what matters to me as an adult, it just makes people think that I feel kind of grown up. I know the most popular time I received that expression, like, "Oh wow, you've grown up," happens when I took care of my sister when I was younger, and also when like I mentioned again, just talking about giving advices and helping people with experiences that I've experienced at the time. So that's what made me earn that title of just being wise while I was young. As for the second question, have I told a child that they seem more grown up? Over what? I think I said that to a child to compliment their maturity. In terms of, how did it go? I think we had a conversation about something. I can't remember the context of it, but I remember that she said something very mature for her age, and I was like, whoa, you sound like a grown-up. You sound like a grown-up. Or, wow, you've grown up in like a few days or so. So I think it's just kind of funny using that expression. So, I notice when I say it as a compliment, I say the word grown up, GROWN, when I'm praising someone. But if I were to talk about them later in a conversation, I would say it as grow up. So I would say, for example, wow, the other day I talked to my student and she seems to have grown up. I still use it. Have is a trigger. She seems to have grown up overnight, or over in one day, or something like that. But yeah, there's that. All right. We have, grown up is the expression there. Let's see. I forgot if I had one more question to put onto here, which was, how often would you say this expression, or how often would you tell someone that they have grown up overnight, for example? It just depends on the situation. So I would say depends, like it's pending. Depends on the situation. I also noticed no one has left a comment in the chat, which is okay. Hans, you're fine. I know you're driving, and I know you probably wrote your answer during a stoplight. So thank you for leaving your comments there. So if anyone else wants to leave a comment, that's okay. But if not, we're just moving on right now. We have wake up, which is fantastic. It's my state of being right now. In the expression wake up, it doesn't mean like waking up from sleep, which is a literal meaning. If we want to use it as a phrasal verb, wake up means to become more alert. So like, in other words, to be sober is another expression for it. You might have heard the word sober, S-O-B-E-R, in terms of drinking, you know? So you'd say, oh, I'm sobering up. It's also meaning the same thing. So sober means to be more alert. And to wake up is to be in a state of like being more alert. Funny, I should also mention this. I've been told that technically if you are drowsy, you're considered unsobered. Like, it's close to being drunk is what people have told me. And typically if you're starting to feel drowsy, you should not be driving because, of course, number one, you'd fall asleep behind the wheel. Number two, it's that being drowsy, not because of medication, but because you just haven't had enough sleep, for example, it is considered... It is kind of considered like drinking. You know, you're not sober. You're not thinking straight. So, I've been told funny enough that technically if you are sleepy or drowsy while you're driving, it's considered like drunk driving. I've been told that before. And it makes sense because you're not in a state of delusions, you know, you're not like seeing stuff or experiencing something weird like drinking does, but what you do experience is just late on reaction, not making the right choices, etc., not thinking straight, which is, you know, similar symptoms of under the influence of alcohol. So yeah, it's just a random thought I just remembered when I saw this expression. But anyway, sorry guys, that was just a funny ramble. What is something that you do to wake up in the morning? Let's see. You guys go ahead and take your time answering this question. You can also answer this on description below on YouTube, because I have not posted any of the videos on Instagram in a while. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it today, just because today is quite a busy morning. We shall see if when I get back from work or when I have a break time. We'll see. But anyways, what do I do that I wake up in the morning? Typically I drink water first thing when I wake up. It's just hydrate myself because I probably am dehydrated when I'm sleeping. I wash my face at the sink. So when I go to the bathroom, I just do my business. I wash my face to wake myself up. And then I think what I do after that is I start playing music when I come back to my room. Like right now, I just feel really sleepy. I didn't have a chance to do any of these wake up routines, so I'm just feeling kind of drowsy right now, and my brain is just like not functioning with me at the moment. If you see me close my eyes, it's because, well, one thing is like, yeah, I am sleepy, but the other reason is because I tend to close my eyes so I can isolate distracting myself and focus on my words and recognize what I want to say next. Because when I'm looking at something, I tend to blank out and I'm like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah. So after I do all of those routines, which is, you know, drinking water does wake you up. Also welcome, Nilosk. Nice to have you here. Drinking water does wake you up. So if you have your water ball next to you, which I typically do right here, and I have it next to me on my bed, just drinking a lot of water, like a mouthful of water tends to wake me up in the morning. It just feels refreshing. So drinking water, washing my face in the sink, and then coming back here and then playing music, like very upbeat music. I tend to pick songs that are fast-paced. So for example, I would listen to songs like Shut Up and Dance With Me, which is by Walk the Moon, I believe. And my most recent song that I listened to wake myself up is Leave Before You Love Me by Marshmello featuring the Jonas Brothers. Love that song. It's addicting. It's high beat energy. That song tends to wake me up very quickly at times. So these are my morning routines on how I wake myself up. And then finally, I think what I need was what I do in the morning is I do my exercise regimen. So I've been keeping a habit tracker of just like putting down how many days have I exercised. I don't typically work out on the weekends. I only work out on the weekdays, which is fine. But it is hard for me because I'm adding like an extra 5 reps into my exercise, and I'm like, I notice like I don't have the strength for it. So like last week I had 15 reps. This one I had 20 for this time around, and I'm like, should I do 20 reps this week? I don't know if I'll be able to survive. But yeah, I don't feel as strong as I'm supposed to, or I should be. But that's basically my whole morning routine, is just waking myself up. Feel free to share yours in the chat. But we are carrying on with the stream for today. If you want to leave any comments, that's perfectly fine with me on Instagram, because I have the video in front of me so I can read your chat and respond out loud. But if you're watching this on YouTube after I finish my stream for today, you can just leave your comments in the description if you wish, or on the Discord thread, which I will share after my stream today. Here is a second question. So what tends to wake you up very quickly? So don't confuse this question with the previous one, because I know people might think, oh, these are the same questions. what I'm asking in this question in particular is, this is something that's not in your control. So the first question is, what do you do to wake yourself up? This one is, what tends to wake you up very quickly? So this is not in your control, not in your power. So it could be done by someone else who does it for you. An example would be, let's see. An example would be, let's say you get sleepy and you fall asleep in class. If your teacher comes up next to you and he slams his book on your table and he wakes you up, that's an example of what wakes you up very quickly from your sleep, right? So in that case, I would say if my teacher suddenly came up to me and did that, whacked like his ruler or dropped a book in front of me, I would be startled. I would be awoken at that moment, you know? So that would wake me up very quickly. A cold shower for sure would wake me up very quickly as well. So like if someone, I hope this doesn't happen to you, but if someone were to bring a bucket of cold water and dump it on your face while you're sleeping, you would probably wake up startled too, right? So I know something cold would wake me up, which is why when I go wash my face at the sink, I tend to just wake myself up using like cold water instead of hot water. Let's see, certain alarms wake me up very quickly too, or sounds as well. So I would say if someone had an air horn, or if there was like a, I don't know, like a chicken or a rooster that would make those cock-a-doodle-doo noises that they do in the morning, that would wake me up very quickly because it's so loud. Oh my gosh. So those are my example of what tends to wake me up very quickly. Oh yeah, I think another one was back in the day. I'm just trying to recall something. When I was younger, my dad would wake my sister and I up in the morning. So he would suddenly slam the door open and say, "Wake up, it's time for school." I would be like, "Oh my god, I'm awake. And then I'm not truly awake yet, but just the sound of him barging in and opening the door, that's just when I knew I would... Okay. Just yawning. That's when I knew it was time for me to become more alert and to wake up. But yeah, that was back in the day. That doesn't happen anymore. My goodness, I have to wake myself up. And as you guys can see, it kind of sucks. I can't really wake up on time because of how exhausted my body was from just doing a lot of mental work yesterday and then just grading papers. It was just exhausting. So I tend to see that whenever I feel very exhausted, I sleep in a little bit more. And yeah. So feel free to answer the questions again, like I mentioned before. What tends to wake you up? Next question. What are other strategies that can help you feel more awake or alert? So this question is kind of asking you guys, like, what are other ways that you know could make you feel more alert? Like if you have suggestions to share with each other or with me, feel free to do that. What else am I thinking right now? I'm trying to wake myself up. Goodness. If you guys have any other suggestions, feel free to share them with me, because I would love to hear them. I've already mentioned what I do to wake myself up, so feel free to share yours. Or it's just a Monday, you guys, so don't worry if today's a slow day and you don't want to respond. That's okay too. We can just keep going with today's stream, because I do have to keep so sorry, I'm just like tripping over my words today. I do have to keep going with today's stream, just because I have to get ready for work. So depending on comment engagement, that would definitely affect like how long I'm gonna be staying on here on stream. So if no one wants to comment, that's okay too. That means it'll be a very quick stream today. Oh yeah, final question for wake up anyways. I'm segmenting back to this because I forgot about my, what's the word for it? Adverbs of frequency. Like how often do you wake yourself up? I think was the question I wanted to ask. I totally forgot about that question. I tend to wake myself up almost every day. Yeah, except for the weekends, because the weekends that's just like my lazy day. It's my off day. Whereas Monday through Friday, it's important that I need to wake myself up at that time. So that's why I would say almost every day. Okay, next one. We have come up, be mentioned. Did you ever use this expression before? If so, how was it brought up? So what I'm asking is, have you guys practiced using this word? Like, oh, did it ever come up before? Did the word come up ever come up before? It feels very meta to say it twice because it's being mentioned. It's first used as the expression, then being mentioned. Like, when's an opportunity to use the word come up? What I notice in my everyday conversation, the expression come up happens almost in every context. It would be used as like, yeah, to mention something, to mention someone, to mention about work. So for example, I would say like, okay, in terms of work, I would think of, oh, did the supervisor ever... Oh, no, so there we go. I was trying to find the right words for this. Sorry, my morning brain is just like slow. This is just how it is, guys, when I don't have my wake up routine established. So I was saying was, oh, the tests. Did the test ever came up in the conversation with the supervisor? So notice I use the past tense for come up with came up. Because I'm hoping that they had a conversation about it, or was it ever mentioned and I hope that it wasn't mentioned, etc. For example. So I would use the past tense of come up in terms of it being completed, right? Did it ever, did the paperwork that we talked about at the last meeting ever came up? Or did the test come up in our conversation? So, in your conversation with the supervisor. So in this context, I'm using come because of the word did. Did takes on the tense role. So did is the first verb, which takes on the tense form. And the word come takes the second verb, which would be in the normal phrase. So if you're ever going to use the word did, it's going to become come up, not came up. If you remove did, it'll become came up in past tense. That's something I've kind of noticed in a pattern. So another expression that I'm thinking of is the word come up. In terms of like slang, we do use the word come up in a different expression. So come up would be like to create something, right? So for example, you would hear this expression when you are being complimented on an idea that you introduced. So let's say you introduce a very mind-blowing game, right? You shared it with your classroom or your peers or your friends, and they look at that. They would say, oh wow, did you come up with that? So that expression there doesn't mean you mentioned, it means did you create that yourself? Like, how did this come up? Like, how did you create this? How did this idea formulate, etc.? Not be mentioned. So it's another expression for come up. So right now I'm just thinking of it right out of the blue at the moment while I'm explaining these words to you. But from the grammar book itself, we're using the word be mentioned, so to say an expression. So yeah, I would say the word come up does appear in almost in every conversation when you are mentioning something or referring to something. All right, what are some topics that suddenly come up during the conversations? So I know, like, in everyday conversation, we can talk about a person, we can talk about a topic with, like, individuals or, like, actions or events that took place, etc. So the expression come up can actually be applied to various things, but again, at its source, or, well, in this context, we are only talking about things that are being mentioned or brought upon. So yeah, I think that's that. Okay. I need to wake myself up, y'all, after this stream. So I am gonna go in like 7 minutes. I know it's like 10 minutes shorter because that's my fault for waking up late, but I really need all the time I can get to finish everything today. So yeah, this is perfect for me. This word is perfect. Turn up means arrived. So what time did you turn up? Or show up is another expression. So do you typically turn up late or early? So in my case, I turn up late a lot. Unfortunately, so I'm always late to the party. I'm late to events and stuff. I try my best to come on time at best, but coming early is very rare for me. So I think my next question, or what I should have added here, was how often do you turn up late or how often do you turn up early? So again, I turn up early almost always, unfortunately. So I'm usually like 5 to 10 minutes late, which is horrible, and I always let my friends know. They're used to it at this point. I'm always like, I can't arrive on time. Not unless it's like really time crunching, then I would show up on time. So I would try my best to leave my house even earlier. So an example of like time crunching would be, let's say you're only allowed in the restaurant if your whole party is there and you're only there for 2 hours, right? Which did happen a long time ago, which was my birthday. I had some friends who I invited to my birthday, and we were not allowed to go in until everyone had arrived, which was horrible. And my friends were actually upset because they're like, my other friends were very late. So we tried to argue with the staff, and we're like, hey, can you just seat us and let us have our food? They'll come up late. They'll turn up later. I was gonna say come up later. As another one, as a come up, as a previous one, I'm using that expression as arrival as well. So I'm just trying to think of that expression. Sorry, I'm like blanking out and thinking like they can come up whenever. Yeah, there we go. We do use that expression. So come up can also be used as arrival as well in terms of slang. Yeah. Anyways, back to the story. I think it happened on my birthday a few years ago. We were at a restaurant that had this policy where no one can sit down unless all the parties are practically there, or the majority are. So we had to complain a little bit and say like, hey, we have people who are coming really late, like an hour late. So can we please have ourselves seated? The majority of the party is already here. So, yeah. I just remember that time. But I try my best again, like to show up to events early if I could, but at most it would be like 5 to 10 minutes late, and I apologize for that. Maybe I'll be more on time or earlier if I had better preparations beforehand, but it's typically with my friends and I, we're always late. We're always late with each other. It's so amusing and sad at the same time. All right. So next question. Do you use this expression in your conversation? If yes, in what context? So I would say that if we're updating statuses, you know, so if I were to say, oh, do you know where is so-and-so? Do you know what time they're going to arrive here? What's their ETA, which is estimated time of arrival? We could say like, oh yeah, they'll turn up around the next 10 minutes, or they'll turn up. The expression is just updating a status of someone, like especially regarding what their ETA, estimated time of arrival. And then what else for turn up? You could also use this expression to tease someone. So I use this expression when, let's say my friend is like 10 minutes late, and I would tease them and say, oh wow, look who's finally turned up. So notice I use turned up because I use the present progressive. No, not progressive. Present perfect expression, because I have the word has. Look who has turned up. So present perfect would mean you need to add the past tense for the second verb here, which is the main verb, whereas has is the auxiliary. So look who has turned up today, or who has turned up at this hour. I would say that is teasing, you know, like look who has finally arrived. And the indication of that basically means finally, sorry, let me rephrase that. The expression for that basically means finally someone has shown up to the party, or to the event or meeting place, etc. You're just teasing them because A, either they're late and they finally arrived a little bit early than usual, or B, they arrived because they usually typically don't show up at parties and now they finally show up, you know? So it can go in either of those two directions, but that's in terms of teasing the person, you know? It's not meant to insult them, it's just teasing. So those are the two contexts of how to use expression turn up. Is this... That's funny, I didn't add a third line. All right. So I think the final one would be like, oh, again, talking about verbs of frequency, adverbs of frequency. How often would you say this expression? So we talked about, yes, you use it. If yes, in what context? But how often do you use this expression? I would say in my case, it's not as frequent as it used to because we have a new expression for it. Instead of saying turn up, I would say show up, right? Look who's shown up now. Or like, look who's... let's see. Yeah, I would say show up more, just because the expression turn up... I'm just trying to think of the word. Sorry, I'm just like brain farting because I'm like thinking about the expression here. I'm thinking about the word, so I'm just gonna share what's on my mind. Turnt, T-U-R-N-T. Instead of saying turned, turnt with a T. People might be wondering, like, what is that? Like, turnt, is that a British expression? Maybe it could also be an original Middle English back in the day, and it turned into turned instead. But in terms of slang, turnt basically means someone who's under the influence of something. It could be alcohol, it could be marijuana, which is legalized in California, as you guys know. So that expression, or they use expression lit as well as another euphemism. So turnt or lit are similar. So that's why I don't try to say the word turned up or turned up, just because those are the most popular expressions to use nowadays. So I would say show up as a more common expression instead of turn up. Look who's shown up, or look who showed up. Shown up or showed up. It's one or the other. Doesn't matter. It's okay in terms of conversation. But yeah, those are my explanation as to why I don't use the word turn up anymore. It's because of the other euphemism expressions that we use in slang, and I already have an alternative expression too. So yeah. So that being said, I sometimes use the word, sometimes I don't. All right. So it's already 6 o'clock, so I do have to get going, unfortunately. Sorry. I need to wake myself up after this. I'm gonna go wash my face and go use the bathroom and do my business. Anything to wake myself up and be more alert, because your girl here is just so tired. She's exhausted from last night. I didn't have a lot of opportunities to do a lot of my checklist, but I did try to find something because I need to send something back to Amazon. So fingers crossed, that's my first task to do when I get home after work, is try to find that thing and then finish my slides for tomorrow as well. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns or suggestions, QCCS, feel free to leave a comment on the video once I upload it on YouTube, or well, once this stream ends, you can leave a comment on YouTube. I don't see any comments so far, so all seems well. At least I hope so. I'm checking it out right now. I'm just checking it out. Oopsies, I just moved over too quickly here. yeah. Checking. I didn't ask for the stream to be like that. Stop it. But anyways, I don't see anything on YouTube, and it says on my Streamlabs that something went wrong, so I can't access the chat for some reason. So, sorry if you left a comment and I didn't see it. But anyways, today's a Monday. I know it's a rough start, and I apologize that I didn't have questions prepared, and I used part of the stream to type it very quickly for you guys. Like I mentioned, I'm very limited on time just because of a lot of workload that I go through Monday through Friday. But other than that, let's just hope for the best. That tomorrow will be better, and I'll have some proper streams set up for you guys. Also, since tomorrow is a grammar lesson day, I hate to share this with y'all, but my tablet was shattered on Friday. I don't know if you can see it, but I dropped my phone on it while I was working. I just had it on the table, and then my hand just slipped with the phone, and it crashed on this, which really devastates me because I've dropped my phone on my tablet here before a few times in the past, and it's just unfortunate, but it finally gave through and it cracked, so now my tablet is broken. I have to send this back for refurbishment. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I don't have my tablet, which I usually use to do corrections and grading on. I'll try to use a PDF file, which I do have an alternative, which I used to do back in the past before I had this, was I had a drawing little board, and I can just write on the screen here, which is fine too. So hopefully you guys don't mind that as my notes, and that'll be it. So Liani says, okay, thanks teacher. Thank you, Liani, for being here. Thank you for still being here, or for coming back. So I'll be coming back to stream on YouTube and Instagram Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. Again, if I'm not awake before 4:30, please give me at least 5 to 10 minutes to turn on my stream. I've noticed that I do start moving as soon as I see my alarm clock, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to exercise. I'll come downstairs. I have to set up my stream very quickly, which I thankfully do the night before. So all I have to do is just input the code from Instagram, and then I can go live immediately. So Liani says, maybe next time you can make singing live stream, then I'll join. Aw, yeah, it's been a while. Liani, my goodness. I try to limit the singing streams for like celebrations, which I probably should very soon. So I'll think about it for sure. I'll have a singing stream coming up. I'll probably announce it too. Because we've passed 10 subscribers on YouTube, which should be worth celebrating. And I owe like I owe a karaoke stream because of reaching 300 followers on Instagram as well, so I should do that. Yeah, we'll do that next time. Hopefully I'll be more awake when that event happens. That means I have to be awake by 4 a.m. so I have my warm-ups as well, so I can sing songs properly for an hour. We shall see, we shall see. So yeah, we do have a karaoke stream. By the way, Liani, if you want to join, I do have a Discord where I can actually invite people to do a singing stream just to celebrate for that event too. So we shall see by then. And if we were supposed to, let's say, I'll just show an example of what it looks like. If we were to have a singing stream, this would the background would change. So I would use this instead of my teaching stream. This is called Simp Hour, which represents singing as my passion hour. Simp is funny. I still love that expression. It's funny. Anyways, but going back to the teaching stream, this is my teaching stream background. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream for today. It's exactly 60 minutes now. So tomorrow we will have our conversation stream, and then we will definitely resume with our grammar later this evening. So fingers crossed. Fingers absolutely crossed that everything will go well for the grammar lesson for tomorrow. So we'll see. All right. So again, if you want to join